Hello again! Thank you to everyone who posted their introductions to the course discussion forum. I've loved reading about your Vista sites, your locations, your goals for the class. If you haven't posted your introduction already, please do so as soon as possible so that your classmates can get to know you better, I can get to know you better. It's just a fun way for us to create a community of learning here for our resource development class. So, the course introduction module introduced you to your course facilitator, me, as well as the class overall, your classmates, and recapped your capacity building role as a Vista. Getting an organization's fundraising off the ground, though, takes careful planning, and this involves giving consideration to an organization's fundraising ethics, planning processes, and boilerplate communications. So this is what we're going to focus on in module number 1. Including several key ideas and concepts that I will touch on over the course of the next few minutes. So we're going to start with ethics. And around ethics, thinking about designing fundraising activities with sound ethics in mind, that's going to help the organization in several ways. For example, when you diversify your revenue streams, ethical dilemmas can and often will come into play. Early in the planning and decision-making process, it's important to look at what you are doing through the lens of ethics. And since nonprofits often don't sell their services, keeping the doors open relies on the generosity of others. We talked about that in the last video. If donors or potential donors perceive a lapse of ethics in an organization, they might withdraw their support. So, to apply ethics to your fundraising, an organization must ground itself in who it is and who it is ultimately accountable to, those who your program serves and benefits. And while there is a standardized code of ethics for nonprofit fundraising that we will explore in the class, it's just as important that your fundraising activities align with your mission and your values, which leads us to planning. Ethics and your organization's mission, values, and needs form the foundation of your planning. And development planning, or in other words, getting organized, is crucial to the organization for a number of reasons. Development involves not just the staff and volunteers specifically dedicated to fundraising. Board members, communication specialists, volunteer coordinators, financial administrators, they all need to be involved. You can make the case that every stakeholder brings fundraising value to an organization. Now add to this a myriad of fundraising methods, and you can see how important planning is for keeping all of the moving parts working together. Planning is a key to an organization's long-term sustainability as well. Most Vistas are with the organizations for just a year, but in that year, it's possible to prepare an organization to apply for a major grant the following year, which in turn will fund a project starting the year after that. The planning you do now can help them build capacity for years to come. That's an important thing to keep in mind. During a planning process, it is important to set goals that are realistic. An organization should strive to create goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And the third of these major areas that we're going to cover in this first module is communications. Creating communications or messaging about your organization and its clients with logical and emotional appeal can serve multiple fundraising purposes. In particular, we're going to look at the case for support. That's a document that your organization can use as a foundation for its fundraising communications. The two main goals of your messaging are to raise awareness and to raise funds. And creating messages that inspire people to act, a nonprofit organization is in direct competition with every other nonprofit and advertising entity that your potential donors encounter. So, to get your fundraising messaging noticed, it's important to stand out. It's all right to learn lessons from the corporate world in terms of messaging and strategies. When it comes to creating innovative messages and strategies, the sky is the limit, just as long as you stay true to your organization's core mission and values. Brand building is one of the key cornerstones of communications. It's important to distinguish yourself from other organizations doing similar work while, at the same time, creating a clear organizational identity. And lastly, storytelling is a powerful tool for creating emotional connections with the people who read or view your messages. You can inspire people through storytelling much more easily than through dry academic-sounding prose. So, we've talked a little bit about ethics, planning, and communication. You've already introduced yourself to the community kitchen staff and board and clarified your Vista role. So now, it's time to get the work started on raising $200,000 for Community Kitchen to develop the Summer Community Garden project. You're going to be focusing on those 3 topics: ethics, planning, and communications in your early work for the community kitchen. First, for ethics, you're going to do a task that will test your ability to apply ethical codes and the community kitchen mission statement to a number of fundraising scenarios suggested by the Fund Development Committee. Then, for planning, during a development planning meeting, you'll provide answers based on your readings to questions about the planning process posed by members of the Fund Development Committee. And then lastly, communications. This task asks you to read an article that describes several best practices for writing a case for support, then to look at a rough draft of the community kitchen's case for support and make suggestions on which sections of the draft should be kept and which should be left out. By completing these tasks successfully, you will be on your way toward helping Community Kitchen get ready to raise the funding necessary for the Summer Community Garden project. So, enjoy module number 1, and as always, please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions, concerns, or would just like some advice. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.